Hey, I'm back. I was here live yesterday talking to Tim Beanland, and I'm back live again today talking in a second to Sylvia Coletto. I'm just going to be checking backwards and forwards on LinkedIn until I know that we're actually live. And as you can see, I'm looking down and doing some other bits and pieces in the background as well until we do that. There we go. Looks like we're live on LinkedIn. So let's make that happen. We're going to be talking paid ads. We're going to be talking about what paid ads actually mean to you. And as soon as I know that that's there we go. I can see it. If you've got any questions about paid advertising, about anything that I'm talking to Sylvia about, then pop them in the comments below. I'm just going to switch cameras and bring Sylvia Coletto on. So good afternoon, Sylvia. How are you doing? There you go. It's us.
Hello,
Hi.
really good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I end up I'm doing stuff under here as well as talking to you. I'm going to tag you in our post as well to make sure that you can see it and to make sure that other people can see it. This is Sylvia Coletto, who has written a book about paid ads, a book which isn't quite yet published, but for the
Soon.
benefit of anyone who's watching, Sylvia, what do you mean? What do we mean by paid ads?
Um, the easiest, there are lots of complicated definitions, but I don't like complicated things. So, really, in short, paid ads are any activity that a company directly pays for, whether that's pay-per-click, so the online side of it, or whether you're paying for a newspaper ad or you're paying for a billboard. So anything that is you have to pay to be on. But generally speaking, paid ads these days equals digital advertising. So Google ads, Facebook ads, and a lot.
And the book that you've written, how are you intending for that to help people? I know you've effectively given up your lunch break today to talk to us about it, so I'm really grateful.
Yes,
And
yes. It's my first lunchtime LinkedIn Live. I'm excited about that. Yeah.
you can eat a sandwich if you like in the background. That'll be
I,
absolutely
I've
fine.
I've already I rushed to get ready for this, so I've eaten something before coming live, so you didn't have to see me munching away at a
That's
sandwich while I'm speaking. Yeah, that
that's
wouldn't be
probably
nice.
good. So
Yeah,
tell us about the book because you've literally just finished writing and editing it, I think.
I did. I finished the manuscript yesterday. I finished the editing, and it's now with a designer uh, for the ebook and for the paperback version as well. So I'll soon should have at least a pre-sale date.
And what's the book called?
It's called "Are You Ready for Paid Ads?" It's a pun. It's intended in two different ways. Are you ready for paid ads in the sense that is your business ready, or are you ready for paid ads as in are you excited for what ads can do for you? And it's a short read. It's supposed to be read in less than 2 hours, and there is a reason for that. The book doesn't teach people how to create ads, so it's not a tutorial. Press this button, press that button, and then you got the ad. It teaches top level business owners, marketing directors, or any decision maker that is involved somehow in marketing, how to understand paid advertising top level, what it does, how it fits in the marketing ecosystem, and what realistically to expect from paid ads, and how to find a good paid advertising partner, whether that's an external agency, a freelancer, or how to hire somebody in-house and be confident that this person is actually going to do a good job.
So what type of businesses should be running paid ads then, in your opinion? If that's not too big a question, who
No,
should be paying attention to the book?
actually, it's not too much of a big question because it's included in the book. It's actually a common question: when should I start running paid ads? And the easiest way that I can put it is that usually new businesses, startups, etc., tend to not need paid ads unless they've had rounds of investment and they've got such a big budget that the investors are saying, you need to invest this in paid advertising. Paid ads comes into place in a stage of the business where you've already got nailed down your processes and procedures. You're making consistent organic sales. You've got a product that you know already works, and now you want to take this product or service and show it to exponentially more people in a predictable way. So paid ads effectively is a 24/7 salesman that goes out and puts himself in front of the people, if you do the job right, that are likely looking for a similar product or service. So you need to be at a certain stage of the business journey in order to be worthwhile for you to run paid ads.
You've said a few things there. For anyone who's just joining us, I'm talking to Sylvia Coletto. We're talking about paid ads. We're talking about pay-per-click. If you've got any questions about any of that, please pop them in the comments below. Something that you just said, Sylvia, you talked about exponential results in a predictable way, because I'm not sure that's how a lot of people think about paid ads, or maybe that's not been their experience at first, that it is predictable. So I'm really interested in you using that language. Can it really be a predictable outcome for people with the paid ads?
Yes, but it always depends on what people mean by outcome. Different businesses think about the word outcome or result in a different way. Result means different things. If we're talking about predicting website traffic, so how much traffic, qualified traffic, you're going to get to your website with a specific amount of money, it becomes very predictable to calculate that after roughly 3 or 4 months you've been running ads. Because after that amount of time, the platform has had enough data, usually, in order for you to make projections on the future based on how much you're spending at the moment. So if you spend X and you get Y, it makes sense that if you spend 10 times more, you get usually roughly 8 to 9 times more clicks. So it is a natural progression. You're able to figure that one out, and it takes a little bit longer, but you can usually do the same thing if you already got a good enough number of inquiries or sales. The more data you've got, the more accurate the future projection is going to be. But the caveat is you need to have data to begin with, because otherwise it's a finger in the air approach. I mean, you don't know if you don't have any existing data, which is what most businesses, this is the thing that they don't understand. They tell me, oh, I've never run ads before. If I spend this much, what am I going to get from it? And I'm saying, I can't tell you until we have at least 3 or 4 months worth of data, because I would literally guess. It would probably be a lie. And the thing about that is that usually when you give a number, even if you're saying it's probably a ballpark, people tend to get attached to that number. So it's very difficult later down the line to say, look, it was actually just a guess. So I prefer not to guess and to go on data. I know it's a bit boring, but I find that it's a lot more, it gives a lot more trust that you're not going to say something that is not true just because you've been pressed to give a number. I can't give that number.
it's not boring at all. I mean, it's not my thing, and that's why I'm interested, because you're talking about it as a science where what I spot, particularly with small to medium businesses, is that they will say something like, I'm going to throw a couple of £100 at advertising and see what happens.
Yes.
And you must have come across that as well. People who just
Yes.
boost a post effectively, or do something
Oh,
like that.
don't say the word boost, please. Like, just to everybody listening, don't boost the post, okay? Just don't. There are lots of different reasons why you shouldn't. But the main reason, it boosts the post in the case of Facebook, in particular, that's the fastest way to gift money to Facebook and for them to not get you anything in return. So don't, because they've already got a lot of money. So you have to make them work for the money that you give them.
Okay, so that really obviously leads on to the next question then.
Yeah.
So for someone starting this journey of paid ads, whether that's Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, as well as buying your book when it's released or when it's pre-released soon, what else should people be looking at? What numbers should they start by looking at?
Well, the easiest way to start is to look at the sales numbers. So there are a few numbers that you have to take into consideration. The first one is that you have a sales target. So what's that sales target, and what is it made of? So what product or services are you selling? Is there one specifically that you're pushing? Because if so, that should be the main focus of your advertising campaigns. As a rule of thumb, in advertising, only do one thing at a time, because it's already hard with one thing as it is. You don't need to launch multiple things and then watch everything fall apart because you haven't followed through with all the stuff that needs to be done to keep them afloat. So the first thing is sales. What sales target? What's it? What are you pushing? Then with the thing that you're specifically pushing, how much does it cost? And what's the profit on it? So taking away all the fixed costs, what's the profit on one product? Then the next thing that you have to know is, out of the, say you've got out of every one sale that you make, how many inquiries do you need? What's your conversion to sale ratio? So if I make the example and I say, okay, the product costs £1,000, I've got £800 worth of profit because 200 are my fixed cost, and I need 4 inquiries to make a sale. Every inquiry is then you can spend maximum £200 to acquire that.
Okay.
It's all a matter of, yes.
It's the science of it that just it does amaze me and intrigue me, just in terms of there's so many people don't look at it in any detail. The first thing that they do is decide to press the button and pay for the advert. And I think everything that's coming out of our conversation is you saying there should be some work done, quite a lot of work, quite a lot of numbers
there's a
done
lot of
before you ever
work
do
that
that.
needs to be done. Funnily enough, pushing the ad live is the last thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot that needs to be done before it, because if you know what I'm saying here in this example is not that if an inquiry costs more than £200, turn the campaign off. What I'm saying is 200 is your benchmark.
Yeah.
The thing that you're looking at to tell you if you're on track or not. If you are massively over that amount, something with the campaign is not right, and you need to do something to fix it and find out what the problem is, because you're effectively spending more than you're making.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you don't know what that benchmark is, you have got absolutely no idea if the campaign is going well, it's not going well, what are you getting from it, especially if it's not an e-commerce based business. So you don't get the sales and the revenue automatically attributed like e-commerce, and you have to go to the sales team and
Okay.
ask, did we have any sales this month? Where did they come from? And they're going to say, well, we don't know, because there is no attribution in place. So you don't know if that sale is yours or if somebody else's department. It all becomes tricky.
So just
Yeah.
like everything in business, I guess, just like a lot of the marketing in any business, you need buy-in from the top down. You need everyone to be bought into this process by the sound of it, not just the digital marketing department or the marketing
Correct.
department. You
Yes.
need the sales team and I guess everyone in the business bought into what's going on here.
Yes, and there is actually a chapter in the book that talks about know your numbers. Look at how funny it is. You don't even know what's in the book. And part of the same chapter is from this number follows through that you need to have a sales process nailed down. Because if your sales process is leaking and you're getting inquiries that you're actually paying for and they're not being followed through, or the sales process is too complicated and you've got too many points where you could actually lose the lead, or the sales team is not invested in communicating back to marketing, that means that you can never 100% have the right attribution for every single pound that you make. But if it was as accurate as possible, it would be a lot easier for the business to make strategic marketing decision as to what campaigns to keep and what campaigns to stop. And I'm not only talking about advertising, I'm talking about marketing in general.
It's just I've been working with you for a little while, and I've spoken to you a few times, but I'm learning so much from this conversation. You're absolutely right. You've only just edited the book, so I've not read it yet. I didn't know that I was giving you a real
It's
opener.
funny. It's fun. See, that tells you that I know what problems people have
Yeah.
and what questions they've got and what are the sticking points that are like, if not done right, you're not going to get as many results from the advertising campaigns as you want to, regardless of what, of course, results mean to you. Because as I said before, results mean different things for different businesses. Some businesses want inquiries, some businesses want more webinars, some businesses want book sales, any specific product sales. They're focused on how many people they've got on the database, because their worth is based on how many people they can. There are so many different goals. It's not just sales. Sales is actually the focus for a lot of businesses, but it's when that's where there's a lot of misunderstanding. And in the book I say this specifically: there is no equivalence. Website traffic equals sales.
Okay.
It's not, the role of paid advertising is not to sell, because the buyer's journey, any buyer's journey in any industry, is not a direct correlation. I go on a website, I buy. You as a buyer don't do that.
No.
It takes a lot longer for you to make the decision to buy. There are a lot more touch points in the journey. It takes a lot longer than a snap decision. So advertising by itself, an ad by itself, cannot sell. But what advertising can do is, if done right, it can go and find the highest quality traffic that it can to send to your website, to the relevant page, so that then with more quality, there is a higher likelihood that these people will continue the journey with you. Maybe not straight away, but there are ways to bring them back. And you are firmly on their radar because of the marketing and the advertising that you do. The job of advertising is a job done right.
I think that's where so many people. What's really interesting to me is how similar what you're talking about with paid ads is to what I talk about with networking. So many people only ever start networking when they've got something to sell, and so many people only first investigate ads when they've, for example, got tickets to an event to sell, or something like that, and they try and people try what I've seen, people try and advertise once, use one paid ad, but expect to sell a load of tickets on the back of that, having never done anything before.
Yeah.
And for me, the whole point of networking, the whole point of when I used to advertise in newspapers in the past, was really to be seen everywhere, so that it made my job of selling much easier, because I was just hitting people on multiple counts. It really sounds like in the digital world, not much has changed in that respect. It's about your visibility, which then makes it easier to make the sale at the end of it. I think, if I'm understanding you correctly, that's basically what we're talking about.
I mean, yes. If you there's a statistic of a recent statistic from HubSpot that doesn't matter if the percentage is right, but you will understand the point.
Yeah.
On average, only 3% of people who visit your website are actually ready to buy right now or inquire, depending on what your business is. The other 97% is interested but not ready yet. So it's fair enough if you want to focus on the 3%, because that's what brings the inquiries and the revenue now. But you've got a huge opportunity of this 97%. If you ignore them, they're not going to come back. You need to have something in place to nurture the 97%. Don't let them forget you, so that when they need what you have to offer, you're at least in the short list of companies they're going to contact. Because we all know, especially in B2B, anyone inquires at least with 2 or 3 people to compare the options. That's how it works. So we expecting to be the only option and to go straight to a sale, not in the digital world.
Not
It's
in
a
the
bit
real world.
naive.
Not in the real world either. When we go networking, people have this expectation that everyone is sat there in the room waiting to buy from them. You and I have talked about this before, and that's just not the case. And it's really interesting that you align that with the digital world as well. People visit your website very early on in the process, and then it's up to you to keep in touch with them or to give them reasons to come back. That's really similar to everything that I talk about with networking as well, which of course it would be, because we're dealing with people at the end of it. We're dealing with business consumers and personal consumers as well. I'm going to bring up on the screen in a second where people can find you, Sylvia, where people can connect with you, because I know you're active on LinkedIn. You'll be publicising the book when it's ready on LinkedIn. I'm going to wrap this up in a second, because we've talked loads, and I'm going to give people the option to connect with you. For anyone who's watching this, I will bring, as we get towards the end of this, I'll bring Sylvia's LinkedIn profile up on screen as well. Yeah, that's been quite an education for me, Sylvia. So I know I'm breaking into your lunch break.
It's okay.
Thank you ever so much. Thank you ever so much for spending some time with me this lunchtime. And if anyone wants to connect with Sylvia, you'll find her, Sylvia Coletto, on LinkedIn. I'll bring that up on screen in a second. Anything you want to add before we finish up, Sylvia?
Yes, the only thing that I want to add is, please, if you're at all ever in doubt as to whether you're ready to run ads, you're probably not, because otherwise you wouldn't be asking yourself this question. So there are a series of things that are very predictable that you need to have in place in order to give yourself the best chance to run ads.
I love that.
And yes, so it's normal. It's like when you're asking yourself, "Do I really love somebody?" The answer is probably no. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with paid ads. So I talk about this in all the content that I put out on LinkedIn or the blogs that I put out on my website. There's a freebie that I put together just for that. It's kind of like a glorified checklist. So it's a checklist with a bit of explanation of every step. So it's designed to be like a yes, I've got this. No, I don't have this. Yes, I've got this. No, I've got this. So go and have a look. And if you want to talk about your specific situation, let me know. I'm available for that. But if you're at all in doubt, please don't. Let's not waste any money. Let's get ready first, and then run paid ads.
Sylvia, thank you ever so much for your time. I love that analogy at the end. If you have to ask yourself whether you really love someone, the answer is probably no.
It's probably no, because
that's not
otherwise
what
you
I was
would just
expecting.
know. Yeah.
If anyone wants to, I'm sure people will want to connect with Sylvia afterwards. So thank you ever so much for spending some time with us. This is Sylvia Coletto on LinkedIn. Thanks, Sylvia, for all your time this afternoon. And I will be back on LinkedIn Lives with other members of the Networking Retreat Connect in future. But for now, thanks ever so much for spending some time with us.